Welcome to Raiders of the Lost Podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast.
We're your hosts, James
and Anthony.
Today's episode, we will be discussing Stranger Things 4, Volume 2.
Hello, movie friends. Welcome back to the show. Let's get into Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 2.
Which just dropped. We woke up at 6 a.m. to watch both episodes, which is 4 hours of content, and it blew us away. I loved it. I thought it was a great ending chapter, two chapters to the series so far. The Season 4 has been excellent. Productions have been off the charts. Netflix crashed in the middle of the night last night while people were streaming it, so I'm glad we didn't stay up till 4:30 a.m. to watch these. But we want to get an episode done up as soon as possible for all of you, and we know some of you are working and you're waiting to get home, but we want to get this up as soon as possible. And I loved so much about the final two episodes. I thought they were probably the funniest episodes. The last episode was hilarious. So many great funny moments, some great horror going on. I thought some of my favorite parts were things like seeing Vecna's vision and plan, not just hearing it, but to see his vision of taking over the entire right side up with the upside down. We had some great references to past horror movies, obviously like Halloween with the Mike Myers mask, which was very funny, but also Vecna, spoiler warnings, Vecna disappearing after the end after he gets shot, just like Mike Myers. The decaying flower at the end, like E.T. So many great horror references as well as amazing moments. Some disappointments for me personally, but I think they did a great job tying all these storylines together.
Yeah, it was a great finale. I thought it was a terrific ending for the season, and I'm very excited to see where Season 5 is going to take us because the scope is getting a lot bigger. Finally, the upside down is not just teasing its way into the right side up. It's fully there, and it's affecting everything. I love the ending of the series, of this last episode in particular. I thought it was terrific. The final shot with Elle and the kids and everyone there, and that Hawkins just like burning in the distance from those huge cracks, those caverns that have been opened up. I thought it was a terrific conclusion. And they killed Eddie.
I know. I'm so disappointed.
Eddie. I can't believe it.
You know, I knew that. I guess that tweet was just throwing everybody off by saying, I hope they bring me back for Season 5. Quinn, when he tweeted it in real life. But obviously, that was clever. He threw everyone off the scent.
Everyone was wrong.
I knew he was going to die when he said, like, we don't look like heroes.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, that means he's going to die a hero.
Man, I thought they were going to step outside of their typical trajectory and kill a main lead. They still haven't done that yet.
They almost did.
Yeah, they almost did.
They almost took out Max.
They couldn't even let Max die.
When Max and her limbs were breaking, I'm like, they're killing Max! Like, I screamed
I was like, no way! And, yeah, I mean, I was hoping that a lead cast member would die.
What kind of person are you?
Yeah, well, they said it was going to be like Game of Thrones.
They totally lied.
Yeah.
It was really just the storylines.
Completely lied. The Game of Thrones, no one's safe. And so I think I would have liked to see a main character die, and Eddie was my favorite new character. Argyle was great too, but I loved Eddie. He was such a scene stealer, and so to see him die, it's again a new person in the cast. They're the one to die. It was a little disappointing to see him go so soon.
Well, since we're on disappointing things, let's go over those real quick.
How else were you disappointed?
So Eddie's death, I was super bummed by.
Yeah,
but obviously that's a great part of a show like this is their Game of Thrones style season. Time was never addressed in the final two chapters.
I was totally wrong.
I thought time would be a significant theme going on, but it really wasn't. And then obviously,
I'm sorry. I thought I had it nail on the head.
You're like, time
grandfather
travel,
paradox.
Time
the clock.
travel.
The grandfather clock is the glyph. Grandfather paradox.
Because you're like, why else would they have so much significance with the clock being a grandfather clock?
I think just ticking clock is in the 4 chimes is what it was.
I think it's just a fun thing that they were doing to connect Vecna to humanity.
So I was way off. So I was
I thought that there'd be more to do with time, but I guess not. Obviously, that means the guidance counselor and her necklace, that was just probably throwing people off to create.
Just fun
it's
little
clever.
Easter egg.
It's for people to go crazy on Twitter and make theories, and it's free advertising. I feel like Will, again, was just so sidelined in these final 2 episodes. The kid hardly did anything. At least Mike got some more stuff going on. He was revealed as he's the heart of the group, you know. Yeah. I liked when Will showed the painting finally to Mike that Elle had commissioned for him to do. And it's an emotional scene because, you know, Will is saying all these things about what Elle thinks of Mike, but really it's also what he thinks of Mike and how he feels about Mike. He can't really confess to his best friend that it seems like he's in love with him, and it's something that he's just going to have to live with, that Mike probably won't have the reciprocal feelings, which is really sad. But still, Mike was otherwise just sidelined the whole time.
You mean Will?
Will was sidelined for the whole second two chapters, two episodes.
He was just stirring water.
I forgot he was in the episode. Then he turned the hose on to fill up the pizza freezer. I'm like, oh yeah, Will's in this episode. Where's he been? This poor kid. And then finally, the end of the episode, he gets the tingling on the back of his neck, and finally, maybe he'll be more in season 5. Now they're all together.
It seems like he'll be an insight into Vecna and the Upside Down for sure. It's kind of like that happened to him in season 2. I'd say a lot, with the prickling on his neck and having feelings and experiencing hallucinations of the Upside Down. So I'm sure we'll get more of that in season 5. But I thought what else were you disappointed by? You have a list, right?
The parents. I thought the parents are going to do stuff because
you were wrong too.
They ended episode 7 with like the shot of the parents like, we got to find our kids and we got to help them. They don't show up really until like they get to Hawkins after the supposed earthquake happens. So I thought the Wheelers and the Sinclairs and stuff were going to get involved with finding their kids, and the Satanic Fury was going to be much more of a plot. But it seems like they had a bunch of stuff shot and storylines planned, but they probably cut a bunch of stuff out because Jason just kind of went from being like riling up the town to just being out of his mind and like
on his own,
like
and it
very
was like
violent.
There were like people leaving all over the place to hunt the kids.
Yeah, so
you're right.
They never really touched on that.
There was like the whole town. Yeah,
aside from the guy walking his dog.
I forgot.
So I'm guessing they shot a bunch of stuff, but they had to make cuts to the storyline, and then they just went with Jason being just like the only one of this entire community hunting the Hellfire Club, when I thought that was going to be a major part of part 2, which is fine, but I think drastically it shows like a crazy drastic change in Jason's character, because even though he was riling everybody up, he wasn't like an emotional wreck like he was in this season, in the last 2 episodes, like kind of on a dime, buying the guns and everything, but still a really solid antagonist.
Great death.
I love his death. Getting split open in half. He deserved the hell.
Awesome.
Deserved the hell out of that. But I was surprised there was hardly any of the Satanic Fury and the community like trying like with pitchforks looking for the Hellfire Club.
Maybe they filmed like you said a ton of stuff, but it wouldn't have worked out with the pacing. Maybe the episode just got so inflated and it was just like, this storyline's not that important. We don't need it. Let's cut it out.
And also, just to stay on Eddie, I'm just disappointed that his memory will be tainted forever, even though he's a hero and he helped save Hawkins and helped hopefully save the world. His memory will always be tainted as the guy who was like the main suspect in these supposed satanic murders.
Yeah, I don't see how they could ever change the public opinion about him.
Yeah, the court of public opinion, you can't. But I mean, maybe it's for the best that he's dead, because how do you address that, and like how do you change the entire community that like
maybe
he's
they could figure
guy?
it out.
Who knows? Because now they believe that he opened a portal to hell, which is interesting. But aside from that, the entire last 2 episodes have so many great moments that I loved.
And the last episode had a lot of Vecna, which I really enjoyed. I loved the reveal of how the Upside Down was this place that he helped. It was there, but then he helped basically shape it into what it is to this day. And the Mind Flare was his creation as well. He took that, cloud of energy, whatever it is,
they
particles.
Call it the particles. It's very similar to, if you've seen the show Dark, it looks a lot like the black hole mass in Dark, the swirling of like black mass from space.
And then that's how the Mind Flayer got its spider shape, because he always had a fascination and a kinship with spiders as a kid.
Little Henry.
Yeah,
playing with spiders in jars. Black widows.
Yeah, like no big deal. So that's how I love the reveal. I love how the Upside Down looked at first. It looked like it reminded me kind of like the King Kong movie that just came out. They had like that lair underneath the Earth's crust.
Yeah. It's kind of like Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah, exactly, like an environment like that. And then he basically turned it into what it is now. I really like that, and I like how I thought that him going through the lightning storm, that was what's going to create the look that we know him as. But the volume 1 ended and it cut with him like flying through the air. And I like how when he's walking around in the Upside Down at first, he's still got like his clothes and he's not fully just like super monstrous. He's
like
just
half burned.
So he basically did that to himself, which I really liked. And I like how Elle was like, "You're not a monster, Henry. Dr. Brenner, Papa was a monster." He's like, "No, I'm a monster.
I'm a monster. Check me out.
You don't know what you're talking about."
What do you mean I'm not a monster? I keep killing kids.
I did this. You see this? I did this.
But yeah, it's great to get more Vecna. It was smart to open the 8th episode, Papa, with Vecna, and then we don't see Vecna for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then the second half really of episode 9, which was called the piggyback, that's when Vecna shows up, and like you said, he is all over the screen. The great practical effects and costume and wardrobe was there, so it looked really great, and he has some great moments, like when he's talking about discovering the Upside Down after being accidentally sent there by Elle. He's like, I was an explorer of a realm unspoiled by mankind, found that particle, like you said, and created everything, and we find out he's been behind everything that's happened in Hawkins, the possession of Will, which hopefully means that Will will have a lot to do in season 5, because that means he's been connected with them the whole time. Now that Will's back in Hawkins,
it's like Harry and Voldemort.
Yeah, he's starting to feel that connection, because I always thought that was a great part of the show. But you're right, it was good to, what we talked about last episode, bouncing to Max being the one possessed, giving Will a break for the story.
Yeah, and they did an excellent job balancing out all of the characters and their plots, because there's like 3 main plots going on. There's the LA kids going to the lab, then Elle and the doctors, and then then there's 4.
4 really.
And then the older kids and Dustin, and then you have the adults in Russia. And they did a good job balancing out all 4 threads. Like, and it's not like it's 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here, bouncing around. They each got like a chunk of like it's 8 minutes to 10 minutes for each group. And I liked how we got long scenes with each group cut between each other rather than quick cutting, and it wasn't overwhelming. I think it easily could have been overwhelming with so much going on, but the Duffers did a great job of keeping us balanced, understanding what everyone's doing, where everyone is located, and an overall story arc that everyone's working towards. And it's interesting how no group knows what the other group's doing, but they're all working towards the same goal. I really like that too. So they did a great job with all of these ensemble characters.
Versus having like a big reunion for a final fight, it was actually everyone was separated still, but all working together for the same goal to eventually help Elle stop Vecna and one. And so let's stay on the California kids who eventually find Elle in the desert after Argyle sees those tracks and they find him. But then there's Sullivan. Is he like a colonel or a major or I can't remember, general or something? He comes in and attacks the compound, but the compound sequences are solid with Elle, where I liked how they turned Brenner into like a ambiguous villain again, where he tries to trap Elle to keep her there because he doesn't think she's ready. But like Owens is like, there's no point. Like, what if we don't get to hit before he hits the world? We have to fight back. And like you said, this isn't a prison, and she has a choice. And then he drugs her, but then I love the sequence where she destroys the helicopter.
Yeah, that was
at the same time as the pizza kids showing up. And I'm also
was all practical. Yeah, they really blew that shit up. You could tell.
It looked pretty solid. And I love how they killed Brenner. That guy deserved to die.
When he got shot in the chest, I was like, finally!
I was hoping that she'd just rip his head off.
No, she's not a monster.
I know. Yeah. But she probably would have. But I'm glad he's gone, because he's been a solid character, but I think we need to cut the cord with Brenner. No more going back in Elle's memories. No more going back in her past. To the Hawkins lab, let's just go forward without Brenner anymore. Brenner.
I think that was the right move as well, to get rid of him.
And probably not having her kill her is the best decision.
Yeah.
But it was great when she finally gets reunited with Mike and Will and Argyle. And Argyle is so funny in this last 2 episodes, comic relief for sure. And then it's just great, like, going to the other Surfer Boy shop and, like, seeing the other guy who works there was just like Argyle. They give him the joint for the pizza place and making the mind battle bath for her to fight in the pizza freezer. He's like, mind battle in a pizza freezer. This is epic, bro. My dudes.
Terrific. It was terrific. It was very funny. But we were wrong about all of our predictions. That's what's funny about the season.
Yeah. I also really I call them Team Rambo. So this is the older kids. So Steve, Robin, Nancy, then Dustin and Eddie.
Yeah, Robin looks like a Green Beret with the hat.
But they just gear up at the arms warehouse, and then they go into the Upside Down with this plan. And they have a plan where Max is going to draw Vecna into her like a trick to try to pull her. She's going to try to get them enough time to chop his head off or whatever they're going to try to do to him while he's in a trance, because they realize that they know Elle's weakness, which means he has the same weaknesses, which means when he's in a trance possessing somebody using his psychic powers, he is completely vulnerable and has no protection besides his bats. So Eddie and Dustin have to draw the bats away. We finally got Eddie rocking guitar in the Upside Down. That was maybe my favorite part of the entire season, is playing Metallica, just ripping guitar and the bats coming after him. It was so metal, bro.
Master of Puppets.
It was so cool.
It was great, yeah.
And it was just playing the song while Max is going through the house and everything's going on and the kids are going, and then they have the other plan with Robin, Nancy, and Steve, where they have to sneak into the Creel house in the Upside Down. So it was so fun.
And Steve didn't die.
Steve didn't die.
Everyone was saying Steve was gonna die. That was the big rumor. Like
so many
Steve's
tweets were
dying.
like, "If you touch a hair on Steve Harrington's head, Netflix, I will kill you."
I didn't think he was. I never thought he was in danger. I thought Nancy was in danger because of them building up their connection again. And I thought like,
I don't think you can kill Nancy off.
Yeah,
I think
guess-
she's too important.
that's
and
why I thought killing her off would be the smart move.
she is clearly the leader of the team. She definitely isn't. Well, was until I would say now Hopper will probably be the leader of the team now that everyone's
Hopper will take
reunited.
over, yeah.
But she was in charge really, and they all took orders from her, which was really great to see. Like when they're in the RV and she's like, "Everyone, what are your parts to play?" And they're like, "All right, Nancy, you're in charge. What should we do next?" So she was the leader, which is good because you need to have a leader in a moment like this.
Yeah, it's terrific. And I thought it was a good plan. I thought it was excellent when the kids were in the murder house and communicating with the lights. And I really enjoyed that entire episode. And it was a solid plan. Ultimately, nobody was strong enough, and Elle clearly wasn't strong enough to take on Vecna completely up until she got the connection of love with Mike to gain an upper hand on Vecna. But still, Vecna is not even close to being destroyed, and his plan still worked. That's what I liked about the season, is that they lost and they didn't win. And even though Elle showed up at the end and we thought she did what she usually does, she ended up failing, and Vecna did exactly what he wanted to do. And that's what I liked about the season, is they turned the tables on us, and
They flipped it upside down.
Oh! But the Duffers need to do that to keep the show interesting, to keep us on our toes, to not give us the same thing that we'd expect to see.
Yeah, we can't have another season where there are gates kind of open.
Yeah.
And like, oh, are they gonna
Let's just
close?
open the fucking gates.
Let's just open them all
it
up. Let's
and it's
go.
a big ass gate.
Let's
it's
go.
a huge gate. So once the gates started opening up, and I was like, "Oh, let's go! Let's do this!" And so when the cracks in the earth started pouring across like that river and across town, through Jason's fucking body, melting
That
him,
was crazy.
I thought it was terrific. And
He's
I was
like waking up. He's like, "What's going
Yeah.
on? Oh my god!"
And when it was opening up, I was like, there's no way they're going to close this up, and there's no turning back. Like, this is it. And I was already imagining, like, the next season is, like, are they going to be combating, like, monsters on a regular basis? Is, like, are these animals and creatures going to be running amok all over the area? So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it. But I will say, after the huge crack opened up, like, 2 days passed by, and I was like, is the crack still there? I wasn't sure if it was, like, closed or not, because like nothing really happened until the final shot revealing the crack of the town. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. With all the fire and lava.
It seemed like it opened up, then just like closed, kind of. But then now it's finally opening up and everything's starting to come out.
Yeah. So I was a little confused in the last 10 minutes. I was like, oh, what about the giant crevice, like the 3 mile crevice that just opened up? So that was a little confusing the last like 15 minutes, and then we get the final reveal of it being open and there's flames everywhere.
We could probably assume that Vecna was just waiting to get some strength back to just finally attack.
Yeah.
And like unleash his army of
probably right.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
The Soviet team was also super entertaining because we have Hopper, Joyce, Yuri, and then Murray, and then what's his name?
Enzo, yeah.
So, and Yuri was super funny still, and he's trying to thwart their plan of getting away. He has a helicopter, and he's trying to stall time, and
takes the spark plug
or whatever that was out of the engine of the helicopter. Some great lines too, but I think Yuri was super funny, and he had a character building moment where we learned some backstory from Enzo that like, I heard that the peanut butter smuggler was once a hero in battle. He's like, where is that, Yuri? And then Yuri, he becomes a hero at the end. And even though he doesn't save them, he has a change of heart and he gets them to America, which is a great moment for Yuri because I like Yuri, the character, a lot. He's a scumbag, but I think that there was so much potential there for him to, save the day kind of.
Yeah. And then Joyce.
And they need him.
Yeah. Joyce and Hopper finally made out.
Oh, man.
time.
I thought they were going to get it, man.
Like, get it on.
Yeah. like the world's about to end and you're trying to get back. I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
He's been in prison, man.
That's a cute moment. He's talking about the lasagna. Yeah. She's like, what about after dessert? Use your imagination. I'm like, oh, damn, Hopper.
He's like, I was thinking that I would drive home and then I'd go to bed. She's like, and then after bed?
Probably wake up and
go to work.
Go to work.
What, Hopper, I don't think you see what I'm saying.
But it was nice to finally get them to kiss, and that's something that we've been waiting for a long time. It's interesting. There's so many like almost couples now that even like Jonathan and Nancy are kind of like up in the air, sort of, and then Robin, she lost her crush and found out she had a boyfriend, but obviously at the end of the last episode, they broke up and they seem to both have crushes on each other, which is very cute.
That girl seems to be a reference to
Molly
Ringwald.
Yeah,
100%. Same hair, outfits.
100% looks like her too. Yeah. And then also we have Mike and 11 that are kind of like getting back together as well, which was very cute. So lots of like couples going on, but like none that are like really.
Well, Lucas and Max were like
same thing.
Also,
Lucas and Max also kind of rekindling the thing. So it seems like season 5.
That was very cute when they were writing notes to each other.
That was an adorable scene.
Very cute.
And he's like, movies this Friday, and she draws the photo of them at the movies. I was like, oh my goodness. And then it's hung up in the hospital. Very, very
he's
touching.
Reading to her. Oh man.
And then Dustin and Eddie. Oh man. So lots of couples that could have been, and Dustin and Eddie's dead, which is
Eddie's
too bad.
dead.
I'm so sad, man. I'm really sad because I would have been like, just keep riding your bike, dude.
Yeah,
just keep riding. You were running away. You were.
Well, I guess there's no. I mean, him surviving that situation would have been pretty ridiculous. It was like 1,000 bats. Yeah, like they had to kill him.
Yeah, but man. But there was so many other great scenes that I love. Like them gearing up was a lot of fun. Like building the weapons and the trash can shields with nails in them, and the daggers at the ends of the spears were super cool. And
like when Dustin and Eddie are stabbing the bats in the ceiling, and they're just screaming and stabbing. Yeah. I was cracking up watching that. It was so funny. That was super fun. That was really great.
Nancy with the shotgun sawing it off, which is a felony we have in that conversation.
That creepy conversation with Jason.
Yeah,
that guy is psycho.
But I like how Nancy got the vision of Vecna. Vecna showed his vision of what's going to happen. He's like, I want you to show 11 this because exposition needs it. And she reveals that there's going to be an army of monsters. There are 4 gates that are going to spread across Hawkins. Our Hawkins is not the upside down Hawkins. He's going to take over our world. 4 kills, 4 gates, like the end of the world. So
4 chimes.
It's like kind of like a spell that Vecna is doing in order to completely open up the upside down to the right side up. Is he needs the 4 kills. Max is the 4th kill, which he achieves, even though we think 11's about to beat him. But Max dies, which opens the 4th gate and creates the giant cracks. But then we learn that 11 has another untapped power that she's never used before, bringing Max back from the dead, even though she's still in a coma. It's pretty crazy that, like what Mike was yelling to her, like, you're a superhero. You can move mountains. You can fly. You can do anything. It's pretty badass that she was able to bring somebody back from the dead. Maybe next season she will fly like a superhero.
I bet she will fly. I
want that.
She's going to be full on Neo.
That would be so cool.
I thought she was going to end up flying by the end of the season once it was teased. Or in the volume 2, episode 1. So who said it? Brenner said it? Brenner said she could fly in the lab. That was the first hint at it. And then I was like, oh, is she going to fly to fight Vecna?
But it was kind of like a metaphorical way of saying it. Like
yeah,
she needs
I
to
took
fly.
it too literally.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the second reference to her, people saying she can fly, so maybe she will eventually.
I bet she flies.
I think.
That's the thing my one thing that has always driven me crazy about telekinetic movies and characters, like people who have telekinesis and that superpower, they never fly. But like, if you can move a freaking mountain, if you can
lift Nina up,
if you can lift a 10,000 piece of metal up, that means you can easily like just propel yourself forward, and you never see that in any telekinetic movies.
Yeah, you're right.
That's something that's always been like, why don't they ever just fly? So it would make sense that Elle could fly.
Like Jane and X-Men should just be flying around.
Yeah,
everywhere.
exactly, 100%. You should just be able to propel yourself to do anything.
Yeah, I get that, man. I have the same feeling.
Yeah, it's always grinding my gears. So I think
made up power pisses me off.
It doesn't make any sense. But I think Elle will fly in season 5.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Let's see. So many other great things happen in this final 2 seasons.
I like the
2 episodes.
I like the finale, the last 15 minutes, the cathartic moments. The gang reunites. It's bittersweet as well because we've lost Eddie. But I think it was terrific seeing everyone get back together. Hopper walking into Elle's room, she left her door open 3 inches. It's super sweet.
And all the fat jokes are so funny about Hopper. He's like, I needed to lose weight. I was cracking up.
You shrank. Yeah, it was very sweet to see everyone back together because Hopper being in Russia and then Joyce being on her journey to find him, they were separate from everyone else, and that was something that I was like, oh, I hope they reunite. I really hope they reunite. And once the gang's back together, everything seems much better moving forward with them all united.
I think one of the coolest moments was when Hopper fought the Demogorgon and he picked up the sword, which was really cool. And it's kind of like a full circle moment for David Harbour because he was a huge World of Warcraft player and fan.
Oh, really?
So he was obsessed with that game in like the early 2000s while he was like a struggling actor, and he kind of had a moment of clarity where like, I'm wasting my time. I should be like getting acting gigs right now. But he was like obsessed with World of Warcraft. So I bet you that was full circle for him to like, he played a character fighting monsters. He's actually fighting a monster with a sword right now. So that was probably really cool for him. But that was an awesome scene. He picks up the sword. I'm like, let's go.
I wonder if that's a World of Warcraft sword that they had for the prop.
Maybe, because those are the swords that the Soviet inmates were using whenever they were getting killed by the Demogorgons. But still, the Russian prison sequences were really cool because of Soviet prison, where they escape, this amazing escape, and then they're like, oh, crap, we got to go back. We got to destroy that particle. And Murray's like, you want to break back into the prison that we just narrowly escaped? And it's been overrun by the Demogorgons and the monsters because the Soviets were testing and keeping them in the laboratory and just running experiments on the Demogorgons and the monsters from the Upside Down. But they needed to kill the black mass, the particles, which went inside the Demogorgons and monsters, and they had to light them all up on fire.
I love Murray. He's so funny. And he's just like with the flamethrower, like, just like Rick Dalton.
What's funny about Murray is he's turned more into Yuri. Like his characters like went crazier, like over the deep end, like Yuri was.
I think he's been a terrific addition to the cast.
Yeah, him and Yuri are super fun, and I like Enzo. So I hope Enzo becomes a major player because he wasn't there at the reunion, right?
No.
So, but I'm sure he'll be back in season 5.
They didn't show what happened to the Russians after the fact
because Murray's probably with them.
Yeah, they went back to Soviet Union too.
I doubt it. They're not welcome there. They're traitors.
They're
probably
traitors.
all in America because Yuri
right.
flew them there.
They'll definitely be back then. So we'll see the Faceless Man again.
But I thought it was also really clever to just figure out a way. You can't get them all together. The California kids in L, they're in the middle of the desert in like New Mexico or Arizona, whichever state they're in. And then the other crew's stuck in Soviet Union. Get them all to work together for the same goal wherever they are. And the mind battles with 11 was really cool. I thought that was a great way to get 11 into the sequences with Vecna and Max and the other crew and to have the battles with Vecna. I thought that was really clever and smart.
And there were a lot of connections to the first season in this season.
Yeah.
And putting Elle in another tub, the kids doing it, harkens back to them doing it in the gymnasium at the school in the first season. So the Duffers did a terrific job of using some of the favorite moments from the past into the season.
And I think these 2 episodes were more fun than the first 7. Not that like I want every episode to just be super fun, but they were all in terms of the great horror, so many great comedic moments and so many just touching moments. I think like the Hawaiian pizza scene was really cute and endearing and really just got you connected with the characters again. I think some scenes sort of dragged a little bit when they have so many of these like relationships that they're still constantly patching up, and they kind of drags on like every time.
A bunch of monologues.
Every time the couples are together, they're gonna like, oh, let's take a beat and just like talk about it. Like the world's ending. Like, can you put this stuff on hold for a second? But I get it. It's a teen show. You know, this is what it is. It's a drama.
It's an everyone
comedy
show.
It's a horror show.
There are just teens in it.
So there's always love and romances. But I love it obviously. But sometimes it's like, can we speed this up?
James hates love.
A little bit.
He hates love.
Hey, they managed to drag it out for 4 hours of content.
But I know what you mean, because the first 7 episodes, they were just setting up this entire conclusion. And so this whole 2 episodes was just basically a giant third act, you could say.
Yeah.
So everything was like a penultimate impending, inciting incident, building up to the final finale, and then the last 2 episodes were the finale.
And then the Nancy, Steve, and Jonathan love triangle is just getting more complicated because Steve basically admitted that he's still in love with Nancy while they're in the Upside Down. He tells a story in the RV about like the fantasy he has about having a bunch of Harringtons, and they like just park it around the United States on summer breaks, on vacations. And then he tells her in the Upside Down that she was part of that fantasy and is part of it, and he's still in love with her. But then Jonathan comes back, and Nancy and Jonathan finally reunite. And
they never broke up, so they're still a couple.
And Steve just like, I felt bad for him for a little bit. I'm like, oh, poor Steve.
And then Nancy tells, when Jonathan has like a snide remark about Steve, and then Nancy defends him and says, well, Steve's grown up a lot.
Yeah.
That was like, oh.
He's like, are we okay? She's like, we're okay.
We're fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
Don't ever. The word "fine" does not mean fine.
Yeah.
That does
when
not.
I say fine, I'm not fine.
Yeah,
I'm lying.
The
as
word
well.
"fine" does not mean.
She doesn't say fine.
I know.
but
Yeah, but it was
the tone.
Yeah,
the
it was a fine
hesitation.
tone. Yeah.
So the love triangle with them is just even more complex now because Steve again just admitted that he's still in love with Nancy.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen in season 5?
Yeah. Exactly. But also, I mean, Jonathan earlier in the season said he wanted to break up with Nancy. So
that he didn't hold Nancy back.
Yeah.
But like the world's ending.
So I guess it
So it's like it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
Berkeley can wait. Like I don't think anyone's gonna go into art school while there are monsters running around the entire country.
I hope this next season is just like full on, just like battles and monsters attacking and just like gaining land and territory around the area.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're definitely gonna have to get a huge military presence in the new season
Probably.
as well to be able to combat what's going on. So we're probably gonna see a lot more military figures. Probably stubbornly being like, we can handle this, and then the kids would be like, Ella's got this. So I'm sure there'll be conflict between them, but there's going to be a big military presence in the next one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great acting in these last 2 episodes. Sadie Sink was tremendous. Millie Bobby Brown was excellent as 11. Noah Schnapp, finally, he had a couple good scenes. Unfortunately, I wish he was in more, but he had that great monologue to Mike in the back of the
heart monologue
in the van, which was really great, and you could see like this kid's one of the most talented actors on the show for sure. Sadie Sink was great. She had some great monologues as well as when she's trying to bait Vecna. It's not working. Then she goes into her personal feelings about feeling suicidal and the mental health she's suffering from losing Billy, but also growing up with Billy and wanting to kill him and trying to entice Vecna back into her mind with real feelings and emotionality. I like the mind layers that were inside of the
memory
head,
within the memory.
the memory within a memory. Like the Inception stuff's all over it still. And then even the stuff with love is being the key.
Yeah.
Like that's a very Nolan concept in his movies. And
There's no dead wives in this one, though.
no dead wives. But I think it was cool to like go back to a happy memory to try to stall Vecna going back to where she felt happiest, which was at the snowball dance the first time she had her first kiss with Lucas, which is also where where Mike and 11 had their first kiss. And I loved when 11 showed up inside her memories, inside her the mind layer, to battle Vecna, the back and forth between them. The battle between Vecna and 11 was really solid. We got a little glimpse, I think, of what I'm sure we're going to get in the future in season 5 of a lot more. Besides what Anthony always says, just holding hands at each other. We got objects being used, throwing each other around the rooms. It was a really cool battle.
Yeah, that was a big improvement. Exactly what I wanted as adding more to the fight sequences.
And Vecna, what an idiot. He could have just killed 11.
I hope Vecna learned his lesson of like just kill people when you have them.
Yeah, you got her. Just like
and the kids too.
if he didn't make her just, I want to watch you.
Well,
I want you to watch.
That's
now.
that's a main villain cliche. That if a main villain says that, then that means that the hero's probably going to overcome what's happening. Because I mean, sometimes you write yourself into a hole and you can't really get out of it. Like, how do we keep 11 alive? And so we'll just make the villain say, "I want you to watch this."
Yeah.
It's happened. It's a cliche. It's okay. I mean, I didn't mind it that much. But when it happened, I was like, "Oh, she's definitely gonna fuck him up." Just don't leave the hero alive, Vecna.
Dr. Owens also just got left. Like, what's up with that? With him, he's just handcuffed. And he's with Sullivan, who's probably gonna torture him in season 5. I'm sure we'll get back at Sullivan in season 5 as
he's
well.
Gonna be pissed.
And then Erika was really great. She's part of the team with Lucas and Max. And I thought their plan was really clever, where she's like hiding in that playground area with the light to communicate with the others inside the Upside Down while she's on the right side up. So that was cool. She also got to kick some butt against that other jock. And other than that, we had some other great characters, obviously great character moments, and coming full circle with these plots finally.
Hit me with some theories for season 5.
Season 5, I was before the snowflakes of the Upside Down started falling. I'm like, is everything gonna stay colorful and bright? Like I was picturing a wasteland, which I think we're gonna get is like an Upside Down wasteland in season 5 because it's gonna be a time hop. We're gonna be like 2 or 3 years in the future. So maybe it'll be like 2-3 years of the world battling the Upside Down and Upside Down monsters, and what's that going to look like? Will the world be like a post-apocalyptic wasteland?
Yeah, is it going to be a contained area, or is it just going to spread like wildfire across the entire country? That's what I'm curious about. And then, I mean, if you release the bats will be able to fly all over the place, and the Demogorgons and Demodogs are so fast. So I'm very curious to see how extensive the spread of the Upside Down will be for season 5, because it is a 3-year time jump, and maybe it'll be like Terminator, like they've been battling these creatures for years, and everything's like a fucking dystopian ruin. Maybe that's what it'll be like.
Yeah, and because Nancy described her vision as an army of monsters, not just a couple handfuls, an army of monsters. So I'm picturing hundreds and thousands of demogorgons, demodogs, just everywhere.
And this is a big season, so they gotta go even bigger than this.
So if they went $300 million budget on the season, I'm sure they'll go like $400-500 million budget.
Maybe $1 billion budget.
maybe $2 billion budget.
It's pretty great when you look back at how small in scope the first season was, and it's just getting bigger and bigger, and now it's just gigantic. So I really like how they've slowly been growing the scale of the show season by season, and they haven't lost their footing really at all, and everything seems to be in a good path from day one. And I think that season 4, all in all, is the best season so far.
I think it's been excellent. It's still between 1 and 4 for me, but I think 4 has been excellent.
The thing with 1 is that, I mean, I loved 1, but there's a lot of great stuff in season 4.
Yeah.
There's just so much that I think you can't deny that it's just a really excellent season.
It has been. And man, these last 2 episodes were scary. There are scary moments. When Nancy was still stuck inside the mind layer of Vecna in the opening before he showed the visions of her just going through the halls and then going into his past a little bit and learning about him and then seeing the vision. That was a scary sequence of her trying to run from Vecna, then getting trapped. That had me going, and then just great moments like we've been talking about in this episode that really just felt tremendous to see and watch, and conclusions and reunions. But then, it ends really well where 11 is kind of just standing between the world of the upside down pouring into the right side up, and then her friends and family behind her, and she's just kind of just going to be this centerpiece hope going forward in season 5 of just stopping Vecna.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I thought it was a perfect conclusion to the season. I think it ended really well. It was one of the best finales of the show so far. Probably the best finale of the show so far, except for in season 1 when we discovered that Elle was still alive with the egos in the box. I thought that was really terrific. But this is really epic. I'm looking forward to the show getting bigger in scale and scope. I'm glad that the whole gang's back together, and Elle seems to be more confident in her abilities and more capable. And I'm just super excited to see more Vecna and what extent the Upside Down will have in terms of being now in the right setup and how many monsters there are and how horrific and widespread it will be.
And hopefully Max wakes up and, it was really...
Will she ever walk again?
It was terrifying because her limbs breaking and then losing her sight, and she's just screaming, I can't see anything, I don't want to die, I'm not ready to die. It was really, really sad, and, when she was gone, I was just blown away. I'm like, I couldn't believe they killed Max, but, 11 showing that she has powers that she doesn't even know about yet, and just discovering new abilities. Can't wait to see what else she discovers about herself. Very excited about that. Don't have many fun facts, but I was wondering what book at the end Lucas was reading to Max inside the hospital room, and it's actually The Talisman, which is a book by Stephen King, and this story will actually be the next big project for the Duffer Brothers, who will team up with Steven Spielberg for the series that will also be released on Netflix in the not-so-distant future. I'm sure that...
So it's an adaptation?
It'll be a series adaptation of The Talisman by Stephen King, which will be their project after Stranger Things 5 ends.
I don't know that one.
He's got a lot of books.
He's got a lot of books. He writes a lot.
But that's what Lucas is reading to Max.
Excellent.
Which is a really cool little Easter egg for them to put in there.
That's fun.
Other than that, the series finale was tremendous. Great season. Season 4, like Anthony said, could be the best. It's his favorite. It's probably my second favorite. But, man, they knocked it out of the park.
They
firing
sure
on
did.
all cylinders.
They sure are.
Thanks to everyone for tuning in to this episode of Stranger
The
Things.
special Friday episode.
Volume 2, we
Yeah.
are dropping this the day Stranger Things aired. So if you haven't seen it yet, obviously this is going to be a big spoilers. That you would have known.
Spoilers at the end of the Let's say, okay, a spoiler warning at the end of the
I
episode.
did a spoiler warning at the beginning. I did say it, but I'm just rambling. I'm like Robin. I'm probably most like Robin in the entire show. I just talk.
By the way, we did spoil everything in this episode.
Here's your spoiler warning to watch the finale before listening to this episode. All right, take care.
You've been warned.
You've been warned,
Don't
everybody.
blame us.
All right, take care.
Goodbye, y'all.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Find us on all audio streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Find us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Raiders of the Lost podcast. Be sure to check out one of these other videos right here for more content on our favorite films and breaking down all kinds of movie content. Thanks so much.